Good morning, hockey fans. Data here. Actually, good afternoon now. Happy March and welcome to deadline week as the NHL trade deadline is just around the corner and the first few trades are starting after a flurry in February. We're now getting back into the swing of things to start off March as the New York Rangers are trading Ryan Lindgren and Jimmy Vesey to the Colorado Avalanche for a return that includes Jusso Parssinen, Calvin Haan, and draft picks. We're yet to know any more details than that so far. Welcome everybody to the stream this afternoon. Mighty Joe, Gen Z, get in here. So far from Elliot Friedman, what we know is that Calvin Hahn's part of the package. Here in the Avalanche and Rangers are working on something that will involve Lindgren and Vesey. Believe Parssinen is also part of the return. Jimmy Vesey, that's also, is that one S? My bad, I put with two S's in my description, but we'll be able to survive. Let me, I did spell it right. Hey, props to me. So the Avalanche and Rangers working on a deal there. It sounds as though Calvin Haan is going to the Rangers as well, and draft picks are going to be part of the deal too. So I doubt the deal will be much more than that. Lindgren and Vesey for Parssinen, Haan, and picks. I don't think there's going to be much more than that. We're just trying to figure out what will those picks be. Welcome everybody to the stream. Hearing 50% on Lindgren, says Mighty Joe. We'll wait and see on that. And yes, we'll have a Nyquist stream if things work out. It's always with the timing. Last trade deadline with trades were happening when I was out of the house. I was furious with myself, but I'm going to try and be home as much as possible for these deadline deals. Let's get started. Ryan Lindgren, you know what? For a guy who doesn't look good analytically, I love this guy a lot. Now, Ryan Lindgren, acquired by Colorado, as described here by Jay Fresh, is a defensive defenseman. Not long ago, he was a capable, stable presence on the Rangers' top pairing. Recently, he's been the absolute bane of Adam Fox's existence. Can he bounce back? And you know what? As of late, he has been bouncing back. These numbers don't tell the story as of late. Look, the last few games, 2 assists, an assist. He has 5 assists in his last 5 games, including 2 multi-point games, playing big minutes. Now, don't just take the last 5 games of his career as what you need to know about Ryan Lindgren. Good morning, Brian Michalak. Welcome, everybody. So there is definitely some conversation to be had about, hey, listen, fell off a cliff in 23-24 and 24-25. He's really been hurting Adam Fox's, as we say here, the bane of his existence. Even strength offense in the 0th percentile. Projected wins above replacement in the 0th percentile. But I think his offense is just so non-existent that it drags him down. As you can see, he doesn't have 0 value. He does have value in terms of, these other numbers. They're not all 0. But his offense is so bad and his defense has been so not good that it brings his overall value down to 0. Now, in the penalty kill, slightly below league average. Finishing, not going to ever be high. Goals, not going to ever be high. Primary assists, okay, 36th percentile for a defensive defenseman. Penalties, around that average point in the league, 51st percentile. Playing with average levels of, average levels of competition with above average levels of teammates. You got to look at the downward trend, though. Ryan Lindgren as a player is someone that I like a lot. Maybe it's just because I like him so much in fantasy hockey when he blocks shots, but as a player, he has not always been this bad. It's not like my apologies to like a guy, let's say Cody Ceci. It's not a guy who's always going to be below that 25th percentile, up, down, always within that 25th percentile. No, his defense at even strength was above the 75th percentile a couple of seasons ago, and then now it's gone straight down on a beautiful slide there to go for the trajectory that he's been on, and his overall value from above the 50th percentile down to like the 5th maybe, and now to 0. So Ryan Lindgren this year and last year, not the best version of himself on an expiring contract. I understand the reasoning for the Rangers looking to move him. Even if the Rangers aren't sellers, I understand the rationale behind saying, okay, let's move on from him. They also just they acquired Jimmy Vesey. There's retention on Lindgren. So Lindgren would be making what, 2.75? Is that what it was? Here it is. So Lindgren and Vesey for Parssinen, Haan, and draft compensation. So exactly what I thought in terms of what we know so far. So Lindgren's going to be moving to the Avalanche. They get a defensive defenseman in their system. Well, if we look at their depth chart quickly, the Avalanche don't have cap space, but without the LTIR. But with that, they have $4.761 million. They're going to be taking on 2.75. That still allows them to do some more moves if necessary. I would assume they're moving probably a 2025 second round pick, as they have 2 of them. So I'd say that's probably the max that you could expect. If you look at the depth chart now for the Avalanche, Ryan Lindgren would replace Calvin Haan right there. So if we're talking third pair versus third pair, then yes, Ryan Lindgren absolutely brings more to the table than Calvin Haan. Now, if we look at, I was looking at the Predators because I was thinking of Parssinen. I typed it too quickly. Let me go to the New York Rangers. If you look at the Rangers and their depth chart, and them on defense. Lindgren's been playing top 4 minutes. As we just saw in Lindgren's minutes here, he's been playing big minutes, 20 plus minutes per night, 22, 23, 24, on average this season, about 20 minutes per night. So, and Calvin Haan, meanwhile, has been playing what? An average of 14.55. So the Avalanche are definitely getting an improvement there. LeBron has the full trade grade. So they're definitely getting an improvement. Full trade. And it's going to be a second, as I thought, a second and a fourth, actually. So Colorado setting a second, the better of the 2 seconds that they have here in 2025, and a fourth, the better of the fourth. So the Avalanche are giving up one of their seconds and one of their fourths that we just saw here. Oh, sorry, wrong direction. If we look at, 2025 picks, 2 seconds, 2 fourths. So the better of the second and the better of the fourth. So the Avalanche give up a second, a fourth, Parssinen, and Haan, getting improvements in all categories. Ryan Lindgren, as bad as he's been, honestly, he is an improvement on Calvin Haan. And Jimmy Vesey, I don't know, is he an improvement on Jusso Parssinen? Parssinen, 7th round pick of the Predators. The Avalanche ended up getting him from the Preds. Traded from with the 7th, the Avalanche for Pavel and a 3rd. So yeah, the Avalanche gave value, a 3rd and Andre Pavel, who hasn't really been doing anything, but at least they traded a 3rd for him. They get him here in Colorado, 6 points in 22 games as an Avalanche. As an Av. Jimmy Vesey, meanwhile, in his second stint back here in New York, he's been here for now 2.5 seasons since he came back, 6 points in 33 games. We'll get the analytics on Jimmy Vesey in just a moment. He's been playing on average 10:40 per night. Let's see, 10 blocks, 19 hits over 33 games, while Jusso Parssinen has been playing 9:47 with the Avs, 6 blocks, 41 hits. So Parssinen definitely more physical. So I wouldn't say that necessarily Vesey is an improvement over Parssinen, but Lindgren is absolutely an improvement over Haan, and it cost the Avalanche a second and a fourth to make that improvement, and then possibly consider re-signing him. Ryan Lindgren, he's still just 27. He just turned 27, actually. A lifer here in New York. A 2nd-round pick of the Bruins in 2016. He was traded to the Rangers as a part of the Rick Nash trade. Yes, he was. The Rick Nash trade back in 2018. So yeah, he's been a lifer in the NHL with the New York Rangers and their AHL affiliate. Yeah, he's been good. The point production has actually been surprising this year. 19 points in 54 games, but the defensive production has definitely been what's been hurting him. Yeah, there you go. Conditional 2nd and 4th, going to be the higher of those picks. Jay Fresh is the Visa card. Great. Let's go over and see Jimmy Vesey. So Jimmy Vesey, a bottom 6 defensive winger. As you can see, what the Avalanche would be most interested in is that even strength defense. I'd want to see Parssinen's numbers. So 42nd percentile of even strength offense, 85th of even strength defense, but in a much more limited sample size, playing 4th line minutes. He's a 31-year-old on an expiring deal in the 41st percentile of projected wins above replacement over the last 3 years, according to weighted average data. He is in the 45th percentile of goals, 14th of primary assists, draws penalties, but not playing with or against high levels of competition. He's not finishing. This year, his finishing has gone up. His defense has dropped a little bit. His value overall has been going up. This is Jimmy Vesey as a player. He's an above average player in terms of the value that he brings to the table. Not above average as in he's better than guys who are top 6 players. I'm just saying in general, because you see that he has stayed above that, at or above around that 50th percentile line the last 3 seasons. But again, keep in mind the sample size for him is much smaller. So players who play more ice time will be more hurt by their defensive, by the play that they don't do well. Give Vesey 20 minutes per night and his numbers would be much lower, I think. So that's who the Avalanche are getting, Jimmy Vesey and Ryan Lindgren. I wouldn't say this necessarily helps them a ton. I just think it's an improvement on Calvin Haan. Now, Calvin Haan, keep in mind, he hasn't been bad, but again, the sample size, his time on ice is in the depth category. He has better numbers than Ryan Lindgren, yes, but let's take into consideration that he's playing like 13 minutes per night and Lindgren's playing over 20 minutes per night, sometimes as high as 24 plus. So Calvin Haan with the Rangers in that depth role as a 33-year-old, 55th percentile of even strength offense, 82nd of defense. Everything else, nothing doesn't really matter too much. Primary assists, okay. He does have that more offensive part of his game at times. He's been a 25-point scorer before. Like, I wouldn't call him an offensive defenseman like franchise mode does, but it definitely has that offensive ability to his game. 7 points in 44 games with the Avs this year. He's been bouncing around a little bit. Blackhawks, Hurricanes, Lightning, Avalanche. Now the Rangers, as he's 33. He's been signing contracts 1 year at a time, I think. So there you go. Calvin Haan will now move to the New York Rangers. And the Rangers, are they trying to make the playoffs? I don't know. They're definitely going to be taking a hit here by losing Lindgren and losing Vesey. Well, losing Lindgren and bringing in Haan is a hurt for the defense, especially with Adam Fox out. Swapping Parssinen for Vesey, I'd say it's probably an improvement for the Rangers side of things. If we refresh here, the depth chart, I wonder if it's already updated. No, not yet. Okay, so back to the Twitter world. So that's Calvin Haan. Can we get a card on Parssinen? Not yet. The second round pick is going to be the better of Carolina. Oh, yeah. Ultimately, the Rangers felt they couldn't let their own UFAs walk for nothing the way this season has gone. So it's not necessarily let's make a trade because you're a seller and I'm a buyer. I think this was more of the Avs saying we want to make a little bit of an improvement, and the Rangers saying we don't want to let our UFAs walk for nothing. So Jusso Parssinen, again, fourth line guy, but he is 23 years of age. So I definitely see the side of the Rangers wanting to do this trade. 10th percentile of projected wins by replacement over the last 3 seasons. Definitely dropped off a lot in 23-24 and 24-25. He was doing better things with the Predators. He was a big surprise in his rookie season. 25 points in 45 games. Look at that. He was on like a 50-point pace. But then he followed that up with 12 in 44, then 5 in 15. Ends up getting traded to the Avalanche, scoring 6 in 22, and now have a chance. Now he just actually turned 24. He's not 23. He'll now have a chance with the New York Rangers, where I would think there's more room for him to spread his wings and fly a little bit. So, got him. Good question. Are the Bruins selling off next? I wouldn't say the Rangers are selling off necessarily. They just want to move their UFAs and get value for them. So, are the Bruins the next to start selling potential UFAs? Yeah, I could see that. But I don't think the Bruins or the Rangers are saying, okay, we are sellers. We're just wanting to get value for our UFAs with how the season has been going. I think I'm with Gen Z on this one. I am a fan of Ryan Lindgren. I do think he's better than the analytics give him credit for. But I do think the Avs gave up a lot here. If you were to tell me it was Lindgren and Parssinen for Vesey and Haan, and maybe they gave like a lower pick, I could say it. But to also add that second, I don't know. I don't see how this improves Colorado. I would say it improves their third pair defense. So for the Bruins, for the Avalanche, they traded a second and a fourth to improve their third pair of defense. Because if we look at the Avalanche and go to their depth chart, if I can bring in Ryan Lindgren, who's having the best offensive season that he's been having in a long time of his career pretty much, I can replace him, a guy who's used to playing 24 minutes per night, and replace Haan with him on my third pair, that's fine by me. Is it worth giving up 24-year-old Parssinen, who sure maybe wasn't a big part of your future, but also a second and a fourth for just an expiring UFA? That's kind of the value that teams will be demanding around the trade deadline. So is it the best trade in the world? No, I don't think so. Is it a huge overpayment? I don't think so either. But I do think the Avalanche did give a bit more than you would think would be the expected value in this deal. Maybe the fourth is just a toss-in to accelerate the acceptance. Could be. Let's see what it's Nick says. Watching this on delay as a Ranger fan, I love Lindgren defense and toughness. Would not give up on this guy. Very bad mistake in my opinion. Typical Ranger management. So I see that as well. That's the part of the game I'm talking about from Ryan Lindgren that you don't see in the analytics. He's been, yes, the bane of Adam Fox's existence defense-wise, but he's playing huge minutes. He's throwing his body. He's blocking shots. He brings a lot of toughness. He's a lifer on the team. I would not have wanted to let Ryan Lindgren walk if I'm Ranger management unless I knew for sure that he was not going to be resigning here. So that must just, I don't know. It must be a bit of both where they're not sure if they're going to resign him, plus they want to get value for him and not roll the dice. But at the same time, he's not just a guy that's been around. He's playing in his what now? Parts of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, his 7th year here with the Rangers. And he's been a steady presence playing 1960, so 20 minutes, averaging 20 minutes of ice time per night or more over the last 4 the last 5 seasons. He's averaging 20 plus minutes per night, throwing over 100 hits per season here. Already just through 54 games, he has as many blocks last year as he had through 76 games. So he brings value to the table, and the Avalanche will love that. It costs the Avalanche Parssinen, Haan, okay, is a toss-in, I'd say, but it costs them Parssinen, a second and a fourth to get 20, 30 games of Ryan Lindgren as an expiring UFA. That's what it's costing them. Let's go back to the Twitter world here. Any other thoughts on this? Doesn't seem like it. Okay, let's go back to Jay Fresh. If you're just joining us a little bit later, so the analytics don't look great for Ryan Lindgren, let's be honest. Acquired by the Avalanche, defensive defenseman. He was a capable, stable presence on the Rangers' top pairing, but recently he's been the absolute bane of Adam Fox's existence. Can he bounce back for the Avalanche? So his value has fallen off a cliff, a steady decline defensively as well. In pretty much one of the least valuable players in terms of the wins that he provides to his team in the NHL amongst defensemen. But that being said, I think the analytics don't tell the whole story. We have to admit that he blocks a ton, he hits a ton, he eats a lot of minutes, and the Avalanche will love to have that on their third pair, maybe up to their second pair, but definitely not in their first pair because Taves and Makar hold those roles. So now the Avalanche get Ryan Lindgren, who's having the best offensive season of his career, 19 points in 54 games. Let's break out the calculator. That currently puts Ryan Lindgren on a 29-point pace. His previous career high is 18. He's already set a new career high. So he's getting on pace for close to 30 points right now. They also get Jimmy Vesey coming in, who's been whatever, fourth line guy, depth, sure. Bring him in, 41st percentile projected wins above replacement over the last 3 years. Solid defensively, maybe a bit surprisingly defensively. Great. And the Avalanche have to give up Jusso Parssinen, who is now actually 24, just turned 24 in February. He's a younger forward who they just gave up a third-round pick for in the offseason. And Calvin Haan, who's an expiring defenseman who wouldn't have come back anyways, I don't think, for the Avalanche, playing depth minutes, 13-some minutes per night. Now they get someone who can eat more minutes, block more shots, throw more hits, bring more physicality to throughout the defensive, through the blue line, I should say. Devon Taves might have just become more valuable for Colorado. He keeps Ryan Lindgren from ruining Cale Makar's career. There you go. So Makar won't be ruined by Lindgren as Fox was being hurt by him a little bit. There you go. Okay. How does wins above replacement work? Great question. So wins above replacement, the wins that a player provides above that of a replacement level player. So a replacement level player for a defenseman would be a seventh defenseman. So if I'm looking at, where'd Lindgren go? If I'm talking about the wins above replacement of a defenseman, Ryan Lindgren as a top pair, top 4D, take him out and replace him with a seventh defenseman. How many wins does Ryan Lindgren provide above that of which a replacement level player would provide? So if Ryan Lindgren's wins above replacement is 1.0, that means playing Lindgren instead of a replacement level player, a 7th D, gives the Rangers one more win per year. That's how, in my understanding of wins above replacement, I believe that's how I've always understood it as well. So same for a forward. If we're talking a replacement level player, we're talking 13th forward. And for a goalie, we're talking third goalie. So a replacement level player. So Lindgren has not been providing that value, the value in that sense, but he's been providing value in other senses on a career high pace offensively. He's blocking more than he's ever blocked, I believe, right? Blocking, so he's on pace. His highest is 141. Again, break out the calculator. He would be on pace this year for 155 blocked shots. So he's on a career high pace of points, of blocks, maybe not of hits, but he's still bringing that same physicality as always, and the Avalanche will love that. Jusso Parssinen showed great flashes with the Predators in his rookie season, not so much since then. The Rangers get a chance to get him as a 24-year-old who still has more to show, and Calvin Haan just goes into the Rangers, third pair, whatever else you want to say it might be. My pleasure. Happy to explain. Rock and Pop, is that setting the cost for UFA D-men for the next week? Also, now that one transaction is done, would GMs wait, or will there be dominoes falling and see an avalanche of trades in the next few days? I don't think the trade deadline is going to be what it's typically been. Even like the last few years hasn't quite been like that. I think there'll be a lot of trades leading up to the deadline. I think a good defenseman has just gone for a certain price, and that's kind of the market setting. I think there are defensemen who are better than Lindgren who will get those late first round picks in a weaker draft class. But I think dominoes will start to fall now that we're into the month of March. Yes. Also, he's a good defensive player. I think he'll be good depth for Colorado this postseason. Also, to give as little as they did, considering a guy like Sherratt went for a first rounder in 2022. Yes. So yes, I'm saying the value is a little bit high when you're giving a second and a fourth and a younger player. But also keep in mind what the value of defensemen usually gets to be around the deadline. We've seen Sherratt and other defensemen go for first and whatever else. So I think as high as it might be, I wouldn't say it's like extraordinarily out of the norm. Career high in giveaways too for Lindgren. I didn't notice that. Good catch. So yes, do we have that update yes in Puckpedia? No, we do not. Not a big deal if we don't see it. The Rangers give up. They're going to be retaining 50% on Lindgren, but it's not a big deal. They still have a lot of cap space. They're bringing in a second-round pick. So the Rangers now have no firsts, but 1 second, 1/3, 2 fourths, a 5th, 2 sixths, and a 7th. While the Avalanche, if we look at their summary, they go from 4.7615. Hold on, let's look at the exact cap space left now. So 4.76150. They are retaining 50% of 4.5. Correct? 4. Where is he? 4.5. Okay, so that's 2.75 minus 2750000. That leaves them with 2.01-ish caps. Yeah, pretty much. So just above 2 million. Just above 2 million in cap space for the Avalanche with their LTIR pool to continue thinking about making moves at the deadline. They have no first, but they still have 1 second, no third, 1 fourth, no fifth, no sixth, 1 seventh. So the Avalanche now have 3 picks in the 2025 draft. No first, a second, no third, a fourth, no fifth, no sixth, a 7th. Then in 2026, they have a first, no second, no third, no sixth. So the Avalanche over the next 2 drafts, instead of having 14 picks, they do have 3 7s. But instead of having those 14 picks, they're missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have about half their picks. Yeah. What do you expect from a team that is trying to win Stanley Cups, right? So there you have it. That just about does it for my instant reaction and analysis. Subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when these trades go down. I'm going to try and be sticking to my computer as much as possible here in deadline week. As trades happen, we're going live. We're breaking the news. We're looking at the analytics of it all. So subscribe to not miss out on any of that and hit that bell for all of our franchise modes, career sims, NHL 25, and of course, real world NHL analysis. Lindgren, nicknamed Lindy, the Warrior, going to the Avs. I think Avalanche fans should be pretty happy about this one. I wouldn't say it was like the premier blue chip defensive rental deadline piece, but I think this is a good deal for the Avalanche. I think the value is as high as it might be. It's probably the expected value at this point. What's also this? Hank Kempf as well to the Rangers in this deal. I'm not seeing that. What's that? Kempf. Hank Kempf. This is the full trade. Oh, we didn't see this. D prospect Hank Kempf to Colorado. Okay, we didn't see this. So let's also look at the Avalanche getting Hank Kempf. Thanks for that catch there, Mighty Joe. Let's just look at this before we close it out. Hank Kempf. Sorry, Hank, I can't say I'm familiar with your game. Hank Kempf, 7th round pick of the Rangers in 2021, 22-year-old defenseman playing at Cornell University with Andy Bernard, 7 points in 28 games. Yeah, that's probably just a toss-in for the most part. Thanks for bringing that up, though, Mighty Joe. Okay, is Hank Kempf even in this? Yeah, Kempf is involved in that graphic there. Hank Kempf. And now, does Puckpedia have it? One more time. Never heard of Hank. Maybe just a roster spot. Yeah, he is 22, so it's not like a guy who's in Europe who's 27, but it's probably still more of a toss-in than anything. So yes, now here's Lindgren. Oh, sorry, I missed. What was I saying? 2.75. It was 2.25. My bad. So the Avalanche have 3.286 million, and Lindgren slots in, but the Haan, they still haven't updated the depth chart, but still he's there money-wise. He'll be an expiring UFA. And the Rangers now have 14.05 million of cap space. And who do they have to re-sign? Not much. Like Riley Smith is a question mark. Will Cooley, of course. But like no one who needs big contracts. Parssinen will be expiring RFA. K'Andre Miller needs a big contract. But aside from that, it's not much else to think about for the New York Rangers, who are trying to figure out what they're even doing in this universe. Okay, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me for this breaking news stream this afternoon. Subscribe for many more, possibly. Gustav Nyquist later today, possibly. Lots more to come the next week, and live coverage, of course, on Deadline Day, February, March 7th. We hope to see you there. Thanks for joining me for this stream, and I'm sure we'll have another one soon enough. Who do you think won this trade and why? What are your thoughts about it? Check us out. Leave your thoughts down in the comments and check us out in our Discord server, which is linked in the description, where we're over 700 members, breaking news, talking hockey. That's how I found out about this breaking news. That's what the Discord server does. Join us in there to get in on the hockey conversations. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Saturday, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.